Hi everyone, Shy here. I hope all of you are doing good. Welcome to another new video. In a world where development and progress often mean the demolition of the old to make way for the new, some individuals stand as beacons of resistance. These are the stories of homeowners who refuse to be uprooted, defying government orders and holding on to their cherished abodes at any cost. From Tracy and Miles Albert property to Curtis Pendergrass Stubbornness, here are some of the owners who refuse to move out of their houses at any price. Number 1. Tracy and Miles Albert. When you buy a new house, you expect to arrive at the property with keys in hand so you can move in and enjoy your new purchase. That was not Tracy and Miles Albert's experience. They purchased a property in Riverside, California, in January 2020 from Hassan Bakhtar and were due to move in on January 31, 2020. However, when they arrived at their new dream home, Hassan was still there and refused to leave. He said he had no intention of leaving. When Tracy went to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, she was told that she needed to obtain a court order from a judge to evict the seller. However, there was so much red tape involved in the process that even as 2020 turned into 2021, the Alberts still couldn't move into their new home. In the meantime, they had been paying a mortgage on the property for almost a year, and the previous owner had been living there for free. Finally, 15 months after the sale went through, the couple was able to move in. However, Tracy said they don't even want to move into that house now. Can you blame them? What a horrible situation. Number 2. TAKAO SHITO. Have you ever wondered why there's a random stretch of farmland and houses at Narita Airport? The international airport is absolutely massive, yet there are random private properties nestled in the middle of it. Those random private properties belong to farmers who refuse to sell, farmers like TAKAO SHITO. The farmland was there long before Narita Airport was, and there were many protests related to its construction. Farmers didn't want to leave their homes, so they didn't. Despite a massive international airport being built around them, they didn't move. Angry farmers, who didn't believe they were adequately consulted about the airport, created a group called the Sanrizuka Shibayama Joint Anti-Airport Union. They and their many followers staged sit-ins, protests, and petitions. Some of these protests turned violent, and several people and riot police were injured over the years. When Narita Airport finally opened, land struggles had been going on for the better part of a decade. TAKAO SHITO says he was once offered $1.7 million for his farm, and other farm owners were likely offered the same. However, he said it wasn't about the money, he was determined to stay. Before the airport took over, there were 28 households in the village and 66 in a nearby village. Today, there are just 5. Number 3. VERA Koking. VERA Koking's house was very well known. She purchased her queen house at 127 South Columbia Place in Atlantic City, New Jersey, for $20,000 in 1961, intending to use it as a summertime retreat. Around a decade later, in the 1970s, Penthouse magazine publisher Bob Gucciani wanted to build the Penthouse Boardwalk Hotel and Casino on her property, so he offered her $1 million. In today's money, that's about $3.5 million. Vera declined, so Bob started building the hotel and casino around her property. But when he ran out of money in 1980, construction efforts came to a halt, and her property sat surrounded by steel framework. Eventually, the framework was torn down in 1993, so Vera's house was left on its own once more. The same year, the steel structure was pulled down. Donald Trump purchased lots around what would become the casino and hotel so he could build up a parking lot for limousines. By this point, Vera had lived in this house for more than 3 decades and had no interest in selling and moving. The city decided to use the power of eminent domain to condemn her home and make her move. She was offered a mere $251,000 for her home. Vera fought the authorities and won. She successfully stayed in her home until 2010 when she eventually moved into a retirement home. She transferred ownership of the property to her daughter, who put it on the market for $5 million. 2 years later, she reduced the price to $1 million, and it eventually sold at auction in 2014 for $583,000. The buyer, Carl Icahn, who had the debt for Trump Entertainment, demolished the house. If you look up the address today, it appears to be some kind of covered parking facility. Before moving on to the next point, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you all to my merchandise. You can support my content by getting your favorite products from my store or by simply joining my channel. Your support means a lot to me. Now, let's get back to the video. Number 4. Austin Spriggs. We always appreciate people who hold out against developers trying to take away their family homes. But in the case of Austin Spriggs, we really think he should have just taken what he was being offered. In 2003, Austin Spriggs was offered nearly $3 million for his downtown Washington row house. At the time, it was assessed at just $200,000, so being offered millions for something worth mere thousands would give you a tidy profit. Developers wanted to build condos and offices on the land, so it made sense for them to offer quite a lot so they didn't have to change their plans. But Austin, who ran an architecture firm from the building, refused to sell. In fact, he was the last holdout, and the developers had to build around him. This left his row house teetering on the edge of a massive 4-story pit while the surrounding buildings were being built. Word on the street is that just 4 years later, Austin was in foreclosure and trying to sell his property for $1.5 million. He ended up selling it for under $800,000 in 2011. Number 5. Michael Forbes. Imagine saying no to the president. You wouldn't dream of it, or maybe you would. Michael Forbes didn't just dream of it, he did say no to former President Donald Trump. It all began when Donald Trump approached Michael Forbes in Scotland, asking him to sell his Aberdeenshire farmland so he could build a giant golf course and car park. Michael, who lived on the property with his mother Molly, said no. Now you might be thinking that was that, but it wasn't. Apparently, Trump doesn't like people telling him no. He offered Michael £500,000 in an annual salary for the 23-acre farm. But still Michael said no. Saying no to Trump gained Michael the title of the local legend. He became the Glenfiddich Scotsman of the Year in 2012, but his decision came at a cost. Because Trump didn't get what he wanted, he started vilifying the family. He spread rumors saying their home was disgusting and that Michael lived like a pig. He also built a wall around Michael's house before their water supply was mysteriously cut off. Despite all this drama and being told that the Trump organization would use compulsory purchase orders to make him sell, Michael still wouldn't sell. Number 6. Luo BAOGEN. We keep paving paradise, and Luo BAOGEN wasn't gonna stand for it. When the Chinese government wanted to build a giant new motorway through the village of Zhejiang in the Zhejiang province of China, they had to relocate more than 1,000 people. Most people went willingly, but Luo and his wife didn't. They wanted to stay in their 5-story block of flats, saying they wouldn't move because government compensation wasn't enough. Luo said they would only move if the government gave them enough money to rebuild elsewhere. Their offer of 260,000 yuan, which is about $41,000, wouldn't allow for that. So the Chinese government just went ahead with their motorway development, leaving the structure in the middle of the road surrounded by asphalt. It looked out of place, and it was. It seems that eventually, Luo and his wife did decide to accept the offer and move because their property was demolished in 2012. Number 7. Curtis Pendergrass. Curtis Pendergrass from Deerfield Township in Ohio likes his property just how it is. He lives on a serene slice of land on Primrose Drive in Loveland Park and doesn't want to see a change. But it seems that Deerfield Township does want to see a change. They wanted to buy a 0.13-acre slice of land that aligned the road near his house and use it to link Rich Road and Primrose at the Davis Road intersection. Township trustee L.E.L. Heading says the intersection is odd and has seen many accidents. The roads appear too close to each other at strange angles, so they wanted to turn these two main roads into one. Doing this would require the use of Curtis's land. However, Curtis wasn't impressed when a man visited his property and offered him $1,900 for the sliver of land that would see the busy road placed closer to his house. Curtis said the offer was a joke and he didn't want the road even closer to his house. He also said no one in his neighborhood wanted the road any closer because they don't want more traffic. Curtis said the only way they would get that land would be by purchasing his entire property. It doesn't seem like they want to do that, and town trustees say that if he's unwilling to give up his land, they won't go ahead with the road change. So, that was all for today. I hope you have watched the video up to this time stamp. Make sure to press the like button if it amazed you. Press the subscribe button if you still haven't subscribed to the channel, as it's totally free. You can follow me on all social media platforms. All links are given in the description. You can also watch other cool stuff. The playlist link is also mentioned in the description. I will catch you up soon in the next video. Till then, peace out.